welcome to your Lilywhites podcast. This podcast, the Lilywhites had a loss at home to Lordswood. Joining us this week, we had special guest Stuart, who has done all sorts of manner of jobs at the club. Also, we were joined by Neil, who I called Ian so many times, which I shouldn't have. I apologise. And also we caught up with the 23s manager. Next up for Lilywhites after this game, we have Sutton Athletic at home. Don't forget, follow, subscribe, up the Lilywhites.
I am joined by a special guest today, Stuart. How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm really good, yeah, very well, thank you.
So obviously you've done a lot of jobs here at the Lilywhites over the years and you're very well involved in the club and things like that. What have you seen in the changes that have happened since Tommy Wirral has come in?
To be fair, not a great deal in personnel, obviously. Jacob, obviously, the only real sort of person, the keeper coming in. I just think it's maybe a bit more of a togetherness from the players. Probably togetherness, which has resulted in like with the last game, the last home game was pretty, it was just free flowing. Goals and so on.
Yeah, last week we had a bit of a no contest week. We sort of got rained off, so that will be pushed now to a midweek game on a Tuesday at 7:45. What are you expecting from Lordswood today? Because obviously we played them twice in a thrilling 0-0 draw that, to be honest, if people watch it back, maybe they should have took, and then we lost into the cup with them. Are we looking for a bit of revenge today, or are we looking to just keep our run going? Because they're on a good run as well.
Yeah, you'll find a decent side from Lordswood, to be fair. Nicky Southall's no mug as far as football's concerned. He's been around the football leagues, Forest and so on and so forth. Just a fairly, I think they'll be fairly sort of organised. But I think with our midfield and running through in between the lines and what have you, Stefan and all the others, Woody and KC, etc., will cause them some problems, to be fair. And I think we're looking at a fairly sizable win, to be fair.
Well, what is it? The teams around us are all obviously now catching up as well, and the league's going to start taking shape, which probably means that the Lilywhites will have to go up via the playoffs. How important are players like Stefan Payne and Warren Mafula and the people who get us goals like Sam Hassler? How important are they to the team and having those guys in this sort of team for a playoff push?
I think their experience is unbelievable. I think the whole squad, to be fair, not just those that you've mentioned, whole squad all played at a decent level. Pretty much, as I say, having like your talisman, really, like Stefan sort of being out or whatever. You've got Warren to come in. You've got other players there that can play that position. Woody can play through the middle at the top, up top. Hasler's weighing in with goal after goal from midfield, and just their experience. I think they've all been there before, and they've all played at a decent level. So I think that's going to be the key factor. Finn O'Mara has been immense since he's come in. I think we're just going to the experience side of things will push us over the line in the end.
You talked about there, Finn being a very fan favourite. Everyone we've had on the podcast loves Finn at the minute, and I know him from a previous club, but he's an excellent guy. And yeah, you're right. The core of this team has got better and better. Maybe there's a bit more togetherness. No bad words have said about the previous manager, but maybe he lost his way a little bit. But let's talk about you. You've obviously been with the Lilywhites for some time. You've done a lot of jobs. Even today, I found out you've done another job as well. What is it about the Lilywhites that you love so much?
Well, I'm not actually a sort of a local. I'd moved to Faversham in the early 90s and started coming along to Salters Lane, and then obviously the club folded, unfortunately. But when it restarted again, I sort of came every now and then. Obviously I worked shift work, so it was sort of sporadic when I could come. But more recently my job has been sort of fairly sort of week office hours, and I've been really lucky. So I've managed to sort of do I started out as a coach for the youth sides since my lad he played for them since he was 7 years old. I used to referee a lot of their games and so on and so forth. I've been kit man, secretary up until Christmas, just after Christmas, yeah, I you know, don't mind. I'm sort of, you find me on the turnstile one week and in the burger bar next week. Yeah, so it's kind of like, you know, if I can help, then I'll help. That's the bottom line.
Well, first of all, you know, the club's made of volunteers like you. So first of all, I want to hand you a massive thank you. I know that obviously when you stepped down to take a bit of a rest as well, I gave you the biggest thank you I could. But thank you again, and thank you for being on the podcast. Last question of the day: what's the score prediction?
Oh, I've already predicted it, so the directors have a bit of a sort of a score prediction. I won't tell you what the others have said, but mine is actually 5-0 today.
5-0 to Lilywhites. Well, after the game, you know where to find me, and we'll conversate after. Thank you, Stuart, man.
Thank you.
I'm here with Neil. Neil, first of all, how are you doing? First of all, welcome to the podcast. This is your first time on the Lilywhites podcast. What do you think of the team today?
I haven't seen the actual lineup, but if it's anything like the previous few games, and since Tommy's taken over, then obviously there's a bit more coordination, there's a bit more teamness about it rather than individuals.
Well, I can confirm that there's been no changes today.
Right.
But since Tommy's come in, like you said there, what's the key aspects though? What do you think Tommy has lifted around, especially around Faversham?
I think there's a bit more discipline out there. For starters, it's like he said, you know, that players like Sam Hasler can be a loose cannon, and what he was seeing under, you know, previously was not the Sam Hasler he knew a few, you know, years or however long ago, and he just needed to have a quick word with somebody, and that seems to be the case. He's seen the strengths and weaknesses of our, you know, the players up till now, and he's sort of like doing something about it.
Since the gaffer's come in,
Yeah.
what do you think has been the best performance you've seen for the Lilywhites?
God, well, obviously the last one, the 6-1, was pretty, you know,
Pretty good.
convincing, and I think that's about it. But it's just a little bit more togetherness. Obviously the last 10 minutes at Deal was fantastic, and I don't think we deserved to be 2-0 down when we were over there. And you know, it's, how can I put it, there's just this never say die attitude, whereas under the previous regime we were conceding goals in the last 10 minutes. We actually scored a couple.
With the, you know, like we said today, different opponents here in Lordswood. You know, we've played them twice already, and to be honest, we probably deserve to lose twice. We got a draw on the first one, very lucky draw in my eyes, and then they come and beat us at home in the cup for a bit of a depleted team as well. But what do you want from today's game?
Again, I just want a continual improvement and the 3 points, obviously. I mean, because we haven't scored against them in those two games. We obviously drew 0-0 over there, lost 2-0 here at home. But again, that was when things weren't going too well for us. And I just think that, you know, we've just got to continue doing what we've been doing in the last 5 or 6 games.
Going to ask for your score predictions today. What are you thinking from today's Lilywhite side, Rhys Lordswood?
I put my prediction down on the Slopers prediction group as 3-1 to us, which I can't see any reason to change.
Thank you very much, and I'll catch you straight after.
No worries.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm here with under 23s manager Rhys. Rhys, how's it going?
Yeah, fantastic. Looking forward to today. Another big game for the Lilywhites, and it's been really exciting the last sort of few weeks since Tommy's joined, and looking to use the 23s. A lot of them had experience in the first team, which has been great.
Talk to me a little bit about your 23s, because it's a bit of a journey this year, how like they've been up and down. Someone like Briggsy has come in as well, and a few of your boys have been pushing, so the mentality in this club is to keep pushing the youth through.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a really exciting year. I started out with Briggsy, who's had numerous games now in the first team and really settled in well. And then sort of the last few months, many of the boys getting experience, which has only helped the team, because they're all looking now to push on and try and push the first team for a place, or at least get in the squad.
How did it come about you being a 23s manager, and how long have you been doing it for?
So I was part of the 23s last year, part of the coaching team. That then changed at the end of the year with some of the management moving on to different clubs. So sort of just threw my hat in the ring and stepped up, and been loving it ever since.
With the 23s football, it's a lot different to first team football, because it's more about development and it's more about getting your players in. So sometimes the results don't matter, but you know, for a manager, all results matter. I've been a manager myself. So what's your core values as a manager, and when you go and beat some of the local teams around here, how does that feel as well?
Yeah, it's a really tricky one. So at the end of the day, the boys are all hungry to win, as are all the management team. Winning is massive, but as we always reiterate to the lads, is that it's a development league, and getting them to push on is what is fundamental, and that's why it's been rewarding recently with boys stepping up. Core values is really the attitude. That's the biggest one, and their drive to just be the best they can, best version of themselves, so that when they step up, they don't they don't let anyone down and they give it their best shot.
What have you learnt most as well about being a manager this year? Because the step up from a coach to a manager is massive, and also as well, do you want to go into first team management?
One day that would obviously be the ultimate goal, of course, but just taking it a step at a time at the moment. For me, management is just making sure you look after each player individually, because they're all so different, and every day is different with them and their emotions with not playing, not being in the squad, and also when they step up, making sure you're there for them as well for that side of thing.
Moving on now back to the Lilywhites, the first team here. You obviously go home and away, and I know that. I see you all the time. We always have a nice smile when I talk. But how has it been since Tommy come in? And also as well, what do you think of today's match?
Yeah, so first since Tommy and the guys have come in, it's been great. A lot of energy around the place, and again, exciting under a new era. And then today, another big game, and just really looking forward to it. Good buzz around the place, so hoping for 3 points.
What's the score prediction before we go?
3-0 the Lilywhites.
We'll catch up with you some other time. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you later.
Stuart, a bit of time to think about this one, but a 3-2 loss here to Lordswood. How do you see it?
Yeah, a bit different from the 5-0 prediction that I had. But yeah, I mean, I think the game was killed, sadly, after about 5-6 minutes. And it wasn't really, I think it was, they just came at us like a bunch of sort of wildebeest at the first sort of 5-10 minutes, and really did us, and that killed the game. The third goal, yeah, that wasn't great ideally, obviously, but second half was a lot better. First half, in fact, we actually had some chances as well, and look, you've got to look at positives that come out of any. Alex Ferguson used to say at Man United, you never get anything out of a win, but you get something out of a defeat. And you've got to look at what the positives are out of this game. And today, to be fair, I think we're a bit of a second half side, and I thought that a bit too little, too late in the end. But sadly, which is sad, but. I think there was a lot of positives that we can draw from that. Yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah, no, disrespect to Lordswood. They come here, they've done really well. What did you think of somebody officiating out there? Because from where I'm standing and with the game and that, fans are not happy with it. There is, the first goal isn't offside from what we've now probably gathered. But these are hard things. Being an official myself, you're in the moment,
yeah,
and it's hard. And what did you make of all that?
Yeah, well, I actually thought. The officials did, an okay job. I've always kind of come down a little bit on the sort of side of the officials. I've never been one to castigate a referee, because they all, if they make a mistake, they make an honest mistake. I don't think they've got any sort of, hidden agendas against us, generally. But yeah, I think it was fairly sort of. Pretty fair. I mean, even Sammy Hasler's yellow card and what have you, I thought he was kind of, yeah, he's
not his day today.
Not his day, no.
Frustrated too early.
No, absolutely, and that's the problem with Sam. And I spoke to him at the end of the game, and yeah, he's, like the rest of the team, they're just enormously frustrated. But it is what it is,
Yeah, well, again, it looked like after they went 2-0 or 3-0 up, we still had loads and loads of chances. And what do you think was the key opponent missing today? Because their keeper did make some blinding saves. In the second half, it looked like they sat off a little bit more, tried to slow the game down. By then, it was, sort of a try and get all hands to the pumps. But what did you think of the lack of finishing today?
Yeah, I just think it's maybe it's that killer instinct right at the death. That was maybe lacking today. 9 times out of 10, Steph would sort of get a shot away and score. It just didn't happen today. But other than that, not just Steph, obviously, the rest of the team. I mean, Woody has been getting closer and closer and closer, and I feel so sorry for the lad, because he's such a talent. and yet, you know, he sort of like he does all of the hard work, and then that final sort of shot or whatever just won't go for him. I just feel so sorry for him, especially coming through. Warren's done really well when he's come on. He's got the touch for the second goal, I think.
Probably should have had one as well with the one that he had took a too heavy a touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, you know, in general terms, I think it was just that killer instinct in front of goal at the end that killed us, that we didn't get that, maybe get the equaliser.
Well, you know, 3-2 loss today. No, again, big, you know, well done to Lordswood, who obviously were the better team on the day, and the Lilywhites couldn't get there. But we move on to Sutton next week, and thank you for your time on the podcast.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I'm very grateful to be given the opportunity.
Ian, just seconds after the full-time whistle here, it is Faversham Town 2, Lordswood 3. A spirited fight back in the end. Maybe a game of really that says a little bit more about the officials than it really does about us. Credit to Lordswood as well. They were excellent. But what's your thoughts of it?
Well, it was an absolute dog's mess of a first half, wasn't it? I mean, it was bloody awful. You know, they just seemed like going back to the old days of a team of strangers. I mean, it was terrible. But it was a bit more, I don't know, better in the second half. There was a lot of effort, but it just the end product just wasn't there until the very, very end when it was too late. I mean, the officials weren't fantastic. I mean, Lordswood, you know, they were sort of like 10 referees in bloody orange out there half the time. So, you know, it was just one of those days. Bad day at the office, put it behind us, come back next week and thrash bloody Sutton Athletic again.
Yeah, I mean, you say that about the first half. I don't think it was. I mean, my eyes, it wasn't a bunch of strangers. Maybe the first 10 minutes we were all over the place, and the quick goals.
Yeah, nothing stuck to the keeper. Finn made that howler in front of goal a minute after, or seconds after the kick-off. So yeah, basically it's just one of those bad days. Just got to learn from it.
Yeah. They've spirited second half there, like you said. You know, a few close calls from the linesman and the referee making a few maybe poor choices, but you can't have a go referees because
I think
we're the ones who put it in.
To stay on, to be truthful.
Well, you know, but also as well, you know, there's a lot of, you know, Warren Mafula with a bit of a heavy touch, Paney a few times as well going through. Their keeper making some absolute worldies out there, you know, and they sat in and they did their jobs.
Well, I say it was the first half that cost us completely. You know, we can't turn the clock back on that, but you know, it looks like the way they're celebrating. You know, yeah, as I say, they just look like they've won the World Cup. But you know, it's just one of those, you know, one of those teams. You get them a team you just can't beat.
Yeah, you get those in the season. It seems like that every team that comes in and wins here, you know, it feels like we just said, you know, they are celebrating in front of us, but they're winning the thing that won the cup. What makes teams come here and think that Faversham is so much?
Well, I think
so much for them to beat us.
Yeah, I think what it is all this speculation. Oh, we're paying our players this amount and that amount. It's a big money thing, but I think at the end of the day, I don't know. We came down. There are the expectations to go straight back up because of the players that have joined from higher levels. So yeah, it is a lot of teams, as it were, what looks like cup final. You know, they come and they pull all the stops out to, you know, pull off a scalp. And you know, some of the teams like Lordswood, it's you know, lost twice to them here now. You know, and it's getting a bad habit.
Everyone sort of talk to us like, you know, obviously about the budget and stuff. It isn't as big as what people think, but
no,
if teams did that against teams like Deal and the rest of them around them, maybe the league would be a bit more closer. But at the minute now, it does look like the Lilywhites are going to have to go up through the playoffs. Are you confident with us going up through the playoffs?
We'd have to finish second or third to get the home game, wouldn't we? So, you know, you've got teams like, you know, obviously Deal, Glebe, Corinthian, they're all up there and they're getting results.
They seem to be better away anyway from home.
Well, that's true. But again, I think it's going to be tough because, as I say, we've got to get back into the good habits that we had. But hopefully today's just a one-off. You know, because we had that 2-week break, which probably some of the players probably needed, but it looked like we'd had a break.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you think that the week off has sort of hindered the form that we were in because, you know, we were hitting form and stuff and things like that?
Certainly in the first 6 minutes, yes. I mean, that was just, that was an absolute, like I say, absolute dog's mess, wasn't it? But, you know, it is what it is. You know, a couple of individual errors. You know, no human being on this planet has ever gone through life without making a mistake. And, you know, a lot of ours were on the pitch today, unfortunately. But anyway, it is what it is, and we're back next week a few more beers and have a laugh.
That's it. Thank you, Ian. Thank you for your time, and
No
up the
worries.
Lilywhites. Thank you.
Cheers.
Gaffer, 3-2 loss here today. 3-0 down at half time. Really spirited fight back. Would you say it's a game where Lordswood done really well, and also as well question some of the officiating?
Where do I start? Listen, fair play to Lordswood to go 3-0 up in any game. We've got to give them credit for that, but obviously I'm just looking at my team, my point of view, and I thought, we just started the first half. You couldn't have stopped. Well, the result says it all. You can't start like that. I mean, we said before the game, felt it was a little bit quiet, but the goals, to score and then let another one in within a minute from our kick-off, it's just with the players we got, it's a cardinal sin. But yeah, we've had a perfectly good goal chalked off at 2-1, but I'm not going to start talking about the officials or blaming the officials, because overall we've come out the second half, and without this sounding, I don't want to sound like I'm going mad, I thought we had enough chances to see the game off, and we haven't took them. So that's Lordswood's day, fair play to them, but from our point of view, like I said to the boys, you can't turn up for half a game of football.
Yeah, again, really big credit to Lordswood today. We're not knocking them. They come here, they got their goals, they set on them, and they got their third. But like I said, the first half, maybe the first 50 minutes, it looked like 11 players who didn't know anything about each other, and then after that, it seemed like we just started getting chance after chance after chance. But the game is about putting the ball in the back, and we didn't do that. And what would you think was the mitigating factor to that?
I think the all important thing is getting that goal. If we'd got the goal, we had a few chances in the first half. The keeper's made some great saves. But we've got to defend better. So it's not. I'm not blaming the forwards. The second half we've not got our shooting boots on. He's made some good saves. Some have missed the target. Some have gone over the bar. So there's loads of. Listen, it's a team game. We didn't defend well, and we could have finished the game off with the chances we created. So between that's the reason why we've come unstuck today. So it's one of them games that's things weren't going for us, but we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. Was I happy with the performance? Of course not. But again, when I first come in here, I just said the one thing I won't do is overreact and go from the euphoria of 6-1, where we enjoyed the day, the last home game, to a 3-2 loss that we've got to take all the criticism that comes our way.
Do you feel like having that week off sort of stopped the club's momentum there? Because we were on a really big roll. If you go to Stansfield and nothing's given, but if we had got a good result at Stansfield, and you come here today and you sort of think we're in momentum. Them having a good result last week against Welling, do you think that the momentum has stopped for us?
Yeah, obviously it's our first game for 2 weeks, but I'm not going to hide behind that. I look at the performances, I look at the goals we conceded. And we should be doing a lot better for them. No disrespect to them, I don't think they've worked for any. First one was a free kick and a second ball, and we've given it to them from our centre. But the second half, we was, like I said, we had enough chances to see the game out, and we never took them. So that's football. Like I said, the boy, that's the highs and the lows of football. But we've got a clear week again this week. It's, it has been stop-start, and obviously today's the results hurt us a lot.
Yeah, there's, again, positives take through. Like you can see the difference now in the lads. This is just from my point of view and a few of the fans. Is the boys are frustrated. Maybe before they were just sort of putting their heads down. How much confidence does that give you as a manager as well? Seeing the boys all wanting to fight for you, all wanting to be positive about it. Because when the goal went in from Stephen Payne, every player got behind that ball, wanted to get back in. The minute I know Warren Bafula scored, boys wanted to get the ball quite quickly. So how much of a difference is that as well for you as a manager?
Well, the boys know. I just said to them in there. I know the majority of them, and I did have obviously ripping at them at half time. I think that's the first time they've probably seen me go at them. But like I said, after the game, they've been in football long enough. I'm not going to batter them individually. Obviously, we address things, but we've lost today, and I know how we've lost, but I don't know how we've lost. It's really, it's a really difficult one to summarise, because I wouldn't have minded if we come in, lost 3-2 and created nothing. I'll go, well, there's a problem here. But we've lost 3-2 today, and what did you see? I'll watch the highlights, but I can't keep up with how many chances we've actually had. So, it is what it is. We always knew it was going to be tough. We always knew it was going to be tight. Obviously, today's done us no favours whatsoever. I'm sure everyone else will be thinking that's Faversham out of it all, and that's fine if they want to think like that. But for me, the lads and everyone in there, we will be strengthening. We will be strengthening the squad, 100%. But that's not a case of a panic over today's results. It's a case of it's needed, because we've got a massive dozen or so games to come up to get out of this league, and that is the main aim.
last thing as well, your squad is coming back to full fitness. I know again it had to make a change during the starting 11, but it's easy to be our thing at the minute. But how is it to get your squad almost back to full fitness with the likes of Connor coming back today? Okay, it isn't what we wanted to play, but it's good to get the boys back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously following week they'll even be fitter. So this week we had a few boys that were available for for selection. Connor's obviously gone in and looked like he's not been on. For me, that he does what he does. But we didn't see Matt pulling up with his knee like that in the warm up. We know he's not been well this week, but we thought he was fine, and so did he. And then in the warm up, obviously, but like I said, Matt Newman comes out and Connor comes in. It's not exactly going to weaken your side, is it? So again, no excuses today. Over 90 minutes, it wasn't good enough. And for the reasons that I've just spoke about, that's why you can't turn up for half a game of football. And again, for the fans that turned up here today, all I can do is apologise for the result. And to be honest, hopefully we all stay positive, which is the most important thing. And we go again next week.
Yeah.